Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. My name is Lindsay, and this is Life with Lindsay. Today, we have a WIP Chat. If you do not know what a WIP Chat is, that is when I work on my current WIP, WIP, which is work in progress. I'm currently working on Rollin On A Groove by, crap, I just forgot her name, Julie Edwards. From Diamond Artisan. I will link the unboxing for that in the eye if you'd like to see that. But you can work on whatever it is that you want to be working on. It can be a craft project. It can be a household project. It could be while you're doing chores, while you're driving, while you're working, while you're avoiding work, while you're doing laundry, whatever it is that you want to be doing. There is no right way or wrong way to WIP Chat. If you are new here, hi, welcome. My name is Lindsay, and I do mainly diamond painting and some other crafting related content from time to time. And I would love for you to like, subscribe, hit the bell, hop aboard the Hot Mess Express. Let's all be friends. If you've been here before, hi, welcome. So, I hope that you guys are doing well. I really thought that I would have had this, like, done super quickly. And not that I'm taking a long time on this. I just feel like I have no time to actually sit and work. And with my life changing so rapidly, I have to figure out a new routine that works for myself and my family. So hopefully I'll still be able to maintain a regular, WIP and Chat schedule the way I've been doing it. I used to feel really guilty, like if I couldn't get a WIP and Chat filmed and out to you guys. But I think for the most part, most people are pretty understanding that no matter what, if I go to do something and they ask me what my job is, first and foremost, I'm a stay-at-home parent. My job is to keep my child alive. That's what I say. My family comes first, and if that means that I don't have time to diamond paint, then that's what that means. Do I love that? No, but there's only one of me, and sometimes there needs to be more than one of me, but, I don't know how to clone. So I hope that you guys are well. I hope that you all had a lovely week or weekend or whatever time of day it is, wherever you are, which I'm very curious. Do you guys watch your WIP and Chats or your diamond painting videos or whatever you watch, like, in the morning, the afternoon, or the evening? Just let me know. For me, it's pretty simple that I have 2 times a day that I can watch, like, other people's videos. And those are when my child is sleeping, as we all know. Or, yeah, that's it, really. But I hope that you guys are well. It's been a bit of a chaotic week here. We've got a lot going on. We are in, like, major transitional periods right now. My daughter's about to start school. My husband started a new job, which, I don't know how much of that he wants me sitting here chatting about, but it just was the right decision for our family. And there's my kiddo, right on cue. If you guys hear her, she's super loud. But I also let her know because I am filming this while my husband is at work and my daughter is napping. Because she has a tendency, like, if she needs something, she needs it now. So I let her know, like, Mommy has to record, which she doesn't really know what I'm recording, but that doesn't matter. But the point is that, like, if she needs me, I can't just, be there in a second. You got to give me a minute. Even if I wasn't recording, like, a WIP and Chat, if I was recording anything, I still have to get to her. So anyway, I hope you guys are well. I feel like I've already said that, like, 3 times, but it feels like this has been a week of, like, major ups and major downs, and I've said it before, and, like, I don't know how people do this. I don't know how people maintain an entire life and children and work and household and everything, and it's hard. I am not a very, like, domestic kind of person, and so now it's falling back on me to, basically, not every day, because sometimes my husband will be home during those hours, but in general, it falls back on me to cook. But not just cook, do the meal planning and deciding what we need and doing the groceries and all of that. And, you know, I'm not ashamed to admit that that task is a lot easier when it's me without a child around, or me and my husband with the child around, because she's always around. But it's going to have to be this new thing that I just figure out what routine works best. And I'm also in charge of feeding her for lunch. Now, when she was in preschool, we did a lot of days where, you know, we were all together, so we would just all go grab lunch. She also didn't go to school 5 days a week. So it's going to be an adjustment. I personally find lunches to be the most difficult meal. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but in general, like when we're home, we're doing nothing, and she's like, Mommy, I'm hungry. I want lunch. Unless she wants a sandwich or something of that ilk. It is always, okay, well, it takes 20 minutes for the oven to preheat. This thing takes 22 minutes to cook, and then it takes 10 minutes to cool down. And then by the time the lunch is ready, she's like starving, and somehow angry, hungry children get to the point where, like, then they don't want the food at all. And it's like, but you're starving. So I just have to figure out what works best. And I am not somebody who enjoys leftovers. So I'm not somebody who's like, okay, well, let me prep and I'll have 4 of the same meal in my fridge. Like, I'd rather let the food die than to eat the same meal 4 days in a row. Personally, that's me. I know not everybody's like that. But, so, anyway, and it's funny, yesterday my kiddo had steak. We had steak skewers for dinner, and she kept calling them pork. And at one point my husband was like, this comes from a cow. And then you always worry, like, are kids gonna be like, oh yeah, this comes from a cow, cool? Or are they gonna be like, oh my god, I'm eating a cow? You know, like, there has to be a point where they realize, even if you don't address it, because, like, literally a chicken is chicken. You know, it's a little bit different. If you're eating a hamburger, maybe you don't know that that came from a cow, or bacon comes from a pig. But, like, other things are more obvious. So, anyway, let me tell you guys about my week. I hope that you guys have a wonderful week ahead of you. I'm going into this week with a positive mindset. At least I'm trying to, you know. I am not ashamed to admit that I am already completely overwhelmed and I am just starting out. So we'll see how this plays out for me. But anyway, Sunday we had a pretty chill day. I forgot what movie we watched. We watched a movie. We have decided, I've asked you guys for your recommendations before. Did we watch Coraline? Or maybe that was last week. I don't know. Maybe we didn't watch a movie. But either way, we are going to put together little, like, kid-friendly horror movies. Not horror movies, but, like, Corpse Bride, Frankenweenie, like those kinds of things. And then one of the ones that came up on the list was Ghostbusters. I just Googled a list, and I'm going through the list. Does anybody remember Little Monsters with Fred Savage and Howie Mandel? That's on our list, too. But, I was like, you know what? She probably would really like the new Ghostbusters. So we're going to try to watch that with her and see how that goes. I'm not sure. You know, when it's, like, all people, sometimes it's not as entertaining to small children. But I also don't want something to be too scary or anything like that. But she's pretty good. Like, she was watching something with Brian, and she really wasn't into it, and she let him know, like, this is a little scary for me, Daddy, and he turned it off. Oh, Beetlejuice. It was Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands, which, listen, I haven't seen Edward Scissorhands in forever, but then I was like, I feel like Edward Scissorhands is probably a little too much, okay? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's okay for a kid who, you know, is going into kindergarten. Maybe it's not. But then I didn't realize that Beetlejuice is only rated PG. So I think we're going to try Beetlejuice. I don't know if it's going to freak her out. I don't know if she's going to enjoy it, but she watched the preview for it and she was really excited for it. So if you guys have any, like, family-friendly, horror-esque kind of movies, you know, like, obviously I'm not trying to be like, oh, let's watch Friday the 13th or Chucky or anything like that, but, you know, I was also trying to explain to her, she wanted to watch something, and I was like, baby girl, that's, like, a grown-up movie, and she's like, it's okay, and I was like, listen, I don't need you seeing, like, other people's naked bodies and things like that, and not in a way that's judgmental or anything like that, because, it's not like she's never seen, it's not like these conversations haven't been happening, but it's a lot different if you see, like, a parent's, I don't know how to explain this without sounding weird, but I don't really need her just seeing, like, some random strange lady's boobs or anything like that. I don't have any shame around my body or my daughter's body because I don't want her to grow up feeling shameful about her body. That's kind of where I'm going with this. That's all. Anyway, the next day we did a post office run. And then I was really, really, really in the mood. If you guys have a Primo's Hoagies near you, they are amazing. They're a chain, but I don't think they're national. We don't have one very close to us, so we have to drive like 40 minutes. And I had gotten a text message. They had 2 for whatever hoagies on that day, and I was like, yes, because they're expensive. And it's crazy to me how much a hoagie can cost. But also, like, Jersey Mike's, if you guys have those have been expensive forever. So, anyway, we went, and I got a turkey something or other, and Brian, did he get a cheesesteak? I don't remember what he got. But she shared with us, and then we walked down and got Duck Donuts, which, again, is another chain. This is all in the same shopping center. And I was really excited, and then I was like, maybe taking my child, who's obsessed with ducks, to a place that has, like, duck decor, it can go one of 2 ways. It went the way I had hoped it would. She was excited, and it wasn't like freaking out because she needed all the ducks, but I got her a little tiny duck. You know what the worst is? When you put a color away, especially when it's only a few drills, and then you're like, oh, I literally just missed another one. But, you guys, I cannot wait to share the finished, like, the post review for this with you guys, because the special drills that I added in on this are just unbelievably gorgeous, and I cannot wait to share them with you. I'm totally out of frame of being able to, like, sneak peek you guys any, but here's a picture of the image that I'm working on. So this orange slice, this one, and this one all have special drills in it. Right now, I'm currently working on this top part, so I'm hoping that I have this done by the end of the week, depending on how busy life gets. But we did that. We went over to Target. I had gotten our teacher assignment for school, and with that came the additional items that we needed to get. So we actually did Target and Walmart this week to get the last couple items, which, it's funny, I bought they wanted us to get Elmer's, a 2-pack of Elmer's jumbo glue sticks. Now, I understand why they wanted Elmer's, because it lasts longer, but, like, it literally does not matter how long it lasts if your kid doesn't put a lid on anything. So that's one thing. Which, FYI, my child doesn't put a lid on anything. I wasn't blaming anybody else's kid. My child just, like, refuses to acknowledge lids exist and that they have a purpose. Same thing with markers. And then she'll cry because all of her markers are dry or dead or whatever. And I'm like, girlfriend, it's because you literally refuse to put the lid back on. And for a long time, I didn't buy her any more markers as, like, a, hey, so she was just collecting all of the crayons from, you know when you go to a restaurant, they usually give you, like, 2 crayons, or maybe you'll get a good pack that has, like, 4 crayons in it. She would take them home. Do you guys say crayons or crowns? I say both. Also, total tangent side note here, because I'm talking about school stuff. For all of my fellow parents that create content and have children that are school age that you have paperwork to do, or I guess even if you're just somebody who creates content and then you have like forms that you have to fill out, do you ever put content creator as your profession, or do you just put stay-at-home parent? Because part of me wanted to put that down, even though I'm not like surviving on my income kind of thing, but then I was like, I don't want to be looked at like, oh, what, does she think she's more important than she is? Because I'm not. But also at the same token, some people look at like, oh, you're a stay-at-home parent. Oh, you sacrificed your career to raise your child. Here's the thing about being a woman. No matter what we do, it's never right. You choose not to have children and you're making a mistake because you're going to regret it in the future, which I wholeheartedly believe, if you are somebody who does not want children, that there should be no arguing about that. Like, sure, there's a possibility that somebody could regret not having children later in life, but there's other options like adoption and surrogacy. And then there are, people who have children that like down the line wish that they didn't. So it's not one of those things that everyone who goes and wants to be child free is going to change their mind. Let me just get that out of the way. But you have a child and you stay at home and it's like, oh, you gave up your job and your identity for your child, and then it's like, well, why don't you take more time for yourself? You take time for yourself. Why are you being so selfish? You go back to work. Oh, so you're gonna have somebody else raise your child? Like, literally nothing you do as a woman is gonna be right. You eat too much. You need to take, that's too much. You don't eat enough. Oh my God, what's wrong with you? You dress a certain way. Oh, you're asking for it. You dress more frumpy. Oh, she doesn't care about herself. It's just like, it's exhausting. So I also don't want like the weird judgment from anybody just assuming that I think I'm more important than I am, because that's not the case. But I was just curious for any fellow content creators out there, whether you have children or not, like I said. But anyway, total tangent. I don't even know what I was talking about. So we went to Target. I talked about this in my stories on Instagram, but Target carries, I know they're not Target exclusives. I mean, I don't know that they're not Target exclusives, but I believe this is sold elsewhere, but I think they're called Illy. It's ILY, which I believe is like I Love You. And they are Disney inspired 18-inch dolls. So like the same size doll as like an American Girl's doll. And they are Disney inspired. So the one that my daughter got is Ariel, but it doesn't look like Ariel. This particular one is a blonde hair, blue-eyed little girl with like wavy-ish hair and glasses, and she is wearing her Ariel inspired outfit. I don't know why I just air quoted the word outfit, because that's not what I meant to do, but whoa, something just fell. Hopefully that was nothing important. I don't think it was, but sorry if my audio just trailed off. But it was like a little sequin dress that had a t-shirt with little mermaids on it and boots that had seashells on it, like that kind of stuff. That's how it was like Disney inspired. It's not like they look just like the character. But she didn't even notice it on the shelf. I noticed it on the shelf. And as a mother of a child who looks like this doll, and the child has glasses, and my child now wears glasses, if you didn't know, she just recently got them, like maybe last month or the month before. Last month, I think it was. And when I tell you guys, representation matters, the second she saw that doll, she looked right at me and she said, "Oh my gosh, Mommy, she looks just like me." And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "She even has glasses just like me." And then she got really, really excited. She said, "Mommy, she's so beautiful." And it's something so little. It's that my daughter saw this version of a doll that had glasses just like her, and her immediate instinct was, look how beautiful she was. Not like, oh, like it made such a difference. And that's why having toys that visually represent what your child or, grandchild or niece or nephew or whoever look like That's why it's important to have dolls with different skin tones, with different kinds of hair, of different abilities, different things like that. Like, how many dolls have you seen with hearing aids or cochlear implants? You know, there's like Deaf Barbie. There's not a whole lot of dolls that are in wheelchairs or that use any sort of mobility aid and things like this. They not only normalize play for children who maybe they don't know anybody in real life who wears a hearing aid or who uses a wheelchair or crutches, but putting it into their everyday play totally normalizes it in a way that's not like shoving anything down somebody's throat, because, you know, some people believe that's what you do. And it just, the idea that something looked like her and brought her so much joy, I was like, she doesn't need another doll, but here I am. And I would do it 100% over again every single time, because of the reaction that my child had. And am I doing the right color? Anybody else ever have those moments where you just like totally trail off and you're like, wait a minute, am I putting the right thing down? I am. For anyone who is watching this, like, if you look up from time to time, I am working on this upside down, but I've got the beautiful like rainbow here, and then there's tons of clouds and hearts. It's really, really cute. If you are somebody who loves colorful kits, this is definitely one to get. So anyway, back to, I feel like I've gotten nowhere in this day. And then we went ice skating, and it's interesting. So a couple years ago, like right around maybe before the pandemic started, I had a major falling out with the group of girls, the core group of mothers that I was friends with. And I'm not going to dwell on this because I've worked through my emotions and my feelings on it and everything. I, to this day, have no idea what it is that I have done or not done. And that's fine. Nobody wants to tell me. They just want to shake their fist in fury at me and then walk away. That's fine. That's their decision. And I can be upset with it for my own selfish reasons, but I'm not owed an explanation. Anyway, super long story short, the one girl, her kid also skates during the same lesson time that my kid skates. Our kids are in different lessons. Her kid is is going to be a hockey player. My kid is going to be my kid is a figure skater. Anyway, she just sat right down and started talking to me, as if like we've been friends for the last 3.5 years. I haven't seen her other than at the rink, which I haven't addressed because what was the point? And now I'm thinking, like, is she going to come up to me every week now and think like we're cool because she sat down and started talking to me? I don't understand people who act like nothing ever happened. If she had come up to me and was like, hey, you know, I'm sorry things went down the way they did, or I know that you and I weren't cool, but I just wanted to say, hey, like, that's a lot different than just like sitting down and talking to me as if you're just assuming either I don't remember or that we're cool or whatever, because I am not a confrontational person, but I'm also not afraid of confrontation. And I'm one of those people, like, I don't understand people who can just pretend like nothing ever happened. We don't need to hash it out. We don't need to get to the bottom of it, but to not even acknowledge that something happened seems very odd to me. And so we have skating tonight, and I'm like, is she gonna sit down next to me? I got to see if I have over-the-ear headphones, because if that's the case, I'm going to put them on and attempt to edit so that I am left alone in general. We'll see how that goes. But anyway, after ice skating, a lot of times we go to the McDonald's that's down the street and get something for dinner for her because she's always hungry. And it makes sense, you know, she just exerted a bunch of energy. But the McDonald's we go to, it drives me nuts. You guys, every single time we place an order, my husband places an order on the app. And every single time we get to the drive-thru window and they say to us, pull over to parking spot, whatever, we'll bring out your food. Now, the amount of times that they have brought out our food and it's not the right food, it's somebody else's food, we have to wait even longer. And I'm like, what's the point of ordering ahead on the app if we're now sitting here for 20 minutes and we still don't have, you know, our nuggets or whatever the hell she's eating that day? So this day it was pouring rain, and wouldn't you know, pull up to the next window, please. And our food was ready. And I was like, so when they don't want to go outside, they rush more so that they can get your food because they don't want to have to go out there in the rain. And I'm like, what? This is ridiculous. And when I tell you guys, I mean, like, literally every other time that we've ever been at this McDonald's, whether it was for dinner time or a different time of day, it has always been, please pull over to spot, blah, blah, blah. We'll get you your food out in a minute. And the one time they gave our food to another car, and then I guess the car realized it wasn't their food, which they didn't even order a Happy Meal, so why would they even look in the Happy Meal? I don't know. But they opened up, like, the actual, I think it was a burger that time, the burger wrapper, and I was like, and they tried giving the food to us, and I was like, absolutely not. I was like, I am not eating something that a stranger's hands just touched. Like, I don't know those people. You know, not that I'm expecting their hands to be, like, covered in, like, drugs, but you never know. Or germs. I mean, I do expect germs. I think people are gross in general. But anyway, that was our day. And then the next day, I had to drop my husband off for some training, something or other. And I took my kiddo to Starbucks for a little mommy and me coffee date. And she was so excited. She brought her baby with her, which she has promptly named Baby Briar because it looks just like her. And I think that's super cute. And then she sat there and made friends with, like, all the baristas. And I had on a shirt that said, "Drag is not a crime." And when I tell you, I've never had more people in my life tell me that they like my shirt or what I'm wearing. Like, one by one, a bunch of the different baristas either called me out from behind the counter or came over to let me know. And the one girl was like, just so you know, everyone in here is talking about how much they love your shirt. And I was like, oh, thank you. So if you would like a Drag is not a crime t-shirt, and it looks like a Dare shirt. Well, actually, I have two of them. One looks like Dare and one doesn't. Naked Mangoes is my go-to for those kinds of teas. Anyway, we did that, and then we had some time between then and when my husband needed to be picked up. So we went back to Walmart, got the rest of the back to school stuff. Of course, she was like, can we look at toys? And I was like, sure, kid, but you just got a new doll yesterday, so we're not buying any more toys, which, you know, they hear. But we might, even if you say absolutely not, they're like, we're going to still get one. So that was fun, but we got what we needed. And then I forget, we had to get tape, like Scotch tape. It didn't tell me how many rolls, and it didn't tell me what kind of Scotch tape. And then my daughter, this is, if you need to know, like, about her personality, she is definitely, it's apparent that she's an only child because she is, like, a master around other adults. Like, she is just such an entertainer around other adults. But the other thing you need to know about her is the worry this kid has. Like, she was like, well, what happens if we got the wrong tape? I go, then we got the wrong tape. But what if and I said, Briar, there's no need to worry about what if. And I say as I am very much the pot and the kettle in this situation because I am, as my father likes to refer to me, a pre-worrier. I worry about everything and, anxiety. But, like, watching my child stress herself out over something that is 100% out of our control, I'm like, listen, Briar, they're either going to be appreciative or they're going to let me know, oh, I'm sorry, we meant this. And that's it. That's all it will be. It will be nothing more than that, because if they wanted a very specific kind of tape, they would have let us know. And she's like, are you sure? And she was just so worried and worked up about it. I'm like, yes, I'm sure, kiddo. We did that. And then we ran to, where am I? Pick up my husband. He had to drop off the stuff to get his boxes made at Staples. And Staples basically was like, hey man, we know you're a regular, but like, it's not going to be ready until tomorrow. Now, if you guys print regularly at Staples, they have two different kinds of printing services. You have the ones where you send it in and you basically get entered into the virtual queue, and then you have others where you like walk in and go, this is what I need printed. My husband always puts himself in the virtual queue because if you walk in and you go, here's what I need printed, I need X amount of copies and I need it in an hour, they have to charge you an additional fee. So usually it's not a problem, but they were like, listen, it's back to school. This is our Christmas time. He's like, no, I totally get it. So we knew we were going to have to drop everything off, which we did. And then we ended up, I said, while we're out, let's go do the errands that we have to do. My husband needed to get khakis. Not unlike most other people during the pandemic, my husband had no need for clothes he wasn't wearing regularly. So he wasn't needing to wear dress clothes or khakis or really anything at all because he was home. He was working at home. He was working from home. He was living in mesh shorts and t-shirts, which is pretty much what he still lives in, just not at work. And we went to the Big and Tall store so he could get pants, because while my husband is a very casual kind of person, he's also the kind of person that wants to be able to try things on in store and make that decision. Whereas a lot of times, like, I'll order something and then if it's not right, I'll send it back. I shouldn't say all the time because, you know, sometimes I do that and it doesn't fit and I end up just leaving it at my house and then being like, oh crap, and now I can't return it because, you know, the return period ended. But anyway, he went over there and I took Briar to the place where I got my eye exam, which Lens Crafters. And I walked in and I asked them if they happened to have any youth straps for glasses. Now, they took this as like full on, we need to create this. This is a mission. The one woman said, the one woman was like obsessed with my daughter. She's like, I want her to sing at my wedding and I don't even have a boyfriend. And I was like, well, let us know, because Briar was running around singing in the store. But first, the man who was working there was trying to create a strap with like rubber bands and things like that. So basically, in a nutshell, my kiddo has one pair of glasses that has a strap that we wear. You wouldn't know it unless her hair was in a ponytail because it lays underneath her hair. But especially when she's ice skating, it gives her the ability to like not have her glasses fly off or break or anything like that. And we were having issues with the, I know you're shocked by this, super cheap glasses that came on the doll, continuously falling off of her face. And I thought, well, if I can just buy one at the store, then I don't have to buy one on Amazon. And you guys, I ended up buying her a kid strap, but the attention to detail that this staff put into trying to make my child happy, like, this is what the world needs more of. They had no reason to take any time out of their day to do anything other than their job, and this is what they spent their time doing. So much so that my husband was able to try on and buy pairs of pants for work without us ever making it inside the store. He was able to take care of all of it while we were doing this. And so huge shout out to the staff at the Lens Crafters at where we were. They went above and beyond, and I was like ecstatic how much attention they put into my daughter. And then we went over to a bookstore, and when we were talking about horror movies and stuff earlier, I picked up some Goosebumps books. I don't know if they're really like super appropriate for her age yet, but they had a really cute tin of like 5 original Goosebumps, although oddly enough they had a different tin of 5 other Goosebump books that were also listed as original Goosebump books. So I don't know how many they're considering are the original in these collector's tins, but either way, I was really excited to grab that. And so we'll do that. And then we grabbed some dinner. The next day we went back to get the boxes. And while we were out, I was like, let's just grab like a slice of pizza, which we did. And I had an appointment to pick up my daughter's skates. If you don't know anything about ice skating, which I suspect most people don't know the ins and out unless they are a figure skater or they have a figure skater in their family. But my daughter, they ordered the size that they fit her for, but they wanted to make sure that they fit and all these things, and I keep getting told, well, she'll let you know if they're uncomfortable. And I'm like, she will not let me know. She will not let me know if they hurt. She will not let me know these things because she's not aware of these things. I don't know if some of them are, I don't know what the reasoning is. I'm not even going to speculate here, but she's just not that kind of kid. And of course, I love when people are like, no. And I'm like, no. So she got her new skates. She put them on. She was like, oh, these are really nice. Then I had to get the skates sharpened. And she was so excited. And so she also got to use her skates this past week for the first time. And she's going to use them again today. And like, she keeps playing ice rink at our house. And she'll come up to me and be like, I'd like some ice time, please. And I just think it's the cutest thing. But you also have to pay to get your skates sharpened because ice skates don't come pre-sharpened. So I had to pay for that as well. I already paid for the skates. He takes all of your information down before he orders them because you don't want to get screwed. You don't want somebody to say they want skates and then bail on you. Like, I get that. And I'm fine with that. But there was somebody else there who was getting fit for her skates, an adult, and like my daughter was just fascinated. She was just watching her, and she had very like professional skates that cost significantly more than my daughter's skates. But I think that she is now in the last toddler size. I think the next size up is considered youth sizes. So then of course the price goes up, which, but eventually we're going to get to a point where we need to get her boots and her blades separate. But he was asking me, he's like, do you think these boots are going to be enough? Or do you think she needs more stiffness? So for her her shoe size, they have two options, and it's the ones we got or the next ones up where the boots are a little bit stiffer. Now, that would be beneficial if my daughter weighed more. She weighs so little that even if she was doing singles and things like that, her boots probably still wouldn't be breaking down because the minimum weight that they have listed for these are like 40 pounds, and she's not there yet. So she's not putting 40 pounds of child on these blades every time she would be doing a skill or something like that. So she seemed to skate with them really well. So I'm hopeful that these are good and they fit her well. But we did that, and then Thursday was a really interesting day, and Thursday was like the beginning of the end for this past week. I as a mom, I just wanted to tap out. I felt beyond overwhelmed and underappreciated and stressed out, and just like felt like everything that could go wrong was going wrong. Behaviors were flaring. Everything culminated into this day. So my husband had a training session that he had to be at work for. He had to be there. What color am I doing? He had to be there at 9 a.m. My daughter had a 10 o'clock or 10:15 riding lesson. So my genius idea was, well, let's go grab a cup of coffee and a little treat from the bakery. That way mommy can sit here and have a nice cup of coffee. You can sit here and eat a little snack, which I didn't think she was going to eat anyway because, like, she just had breakfast. But it'll give us enough time that we can just waste some time and not have to go home. And then we can go right to our riding lesson. Well, about 5 minutes after we sat down, Mommy, I all done. Can we go? And I was like, well, okay, let mommy finish eating. I ordered a breakfast sandwich. I finished that, finished my coffee. And then I was like, I have this awkward amount of like, if we go home, we're literally going to have minutes at home before we have to get back out. But I don't want to just keep driving around and doing things. So we ended up going home, you guys, for like 15 minutes. And then we went to the barn and we had the writing, and she was asking me about switching our sessions for the fall. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize this was like a year-round thing, but okay. So we're going to see how it goes. I don't want to overwhelm Briar between school and all of her already pre-existing activities. Like, I'm not giving up ice skating. But there's a lot of moving parts to adjusting to school and having enough hours. But she loves riding, and, you know, it's very expensive. It adds up super quick, and I want her to be able to do it, but there's not enough hours in the day to do everything that needs to be done. And, like, contrary to my child's belief, I don't have, like, endless money just spewing out. But we then still needed to go to the market because we needed to pick up milk. She had run out of milk. And I was like, well, while we're here, we might as well pick up meals for, like, a couple days, because we desperately needed to do groceries as a family. But I didn't want to go pick up milk and then my husband say, well, why didn't you get anything to eat? And then all have to do it the next day when we already had other things scheduled to do. So after riding, we went to the market. We got a couple meals. I am one of those people. If you are somebody who believes that, I'm going to say shortcuts, just for lack of better description here, that shortcuts make things lazy. Like, I saw, like, somebody was talking about, like, this is a lazy mom's hack for cooking. And I was like, girl, you got, like, 4 pots and pans out. This is not a lazy hack. But if they didn't want people to purchase the ready-made meals or the pre-chopped vegetables or things like that, they wouldn't make them and sell them. Like, that does not make anybody lazy. It's there for efficiency, and it also is there. For me, the added cost is worth the value for me, because it helps alleviate stress from me to just be able to put something in the oven that I didn't have to prepare, or that the vegetables are already chopped, and that saves me time in the kitchen. So we got what we needed from the market, and then we had to pick him up. But it was, like, you could tell she had gotten to a point where, like, she was just done and over it, and everything was just exhausting. And I was like, okay, well, now it's been, so we got to the market, then we went home to put all the groceries away, then we went back to pick him up. And it was just, like, nonstop back and forth, and it was just a lot. And my child, like, she's in a car seat. She's not in a booster. So it's a lot of, like, putting the straps on and the clips on and everything. And it's not just like, oh, throw your seatbelt on real quick, we gotta go. And nothing is worse than rushing around with a child who is already worked up or stressed out about whatever. It doesn't even matter what it is. And I was just trying to, like, I felt like I was drowning, that nothing I was doing was keeping me above water. And it was just, like I said, this was like the beginning of the end of this week for us. Like, it just went down. And then we stopped at, like, the local farmer's market on the way home to just get, like, a quick little snack, because nobody really had lunch that day. And now it was late, and she didn't really have enough time for, like, a nap. It was just awful. And then the next day, I've been dealing with going back and forth. There's nothing worse than dealing with medication changes. Making sure that they can get the medication, making sure that nobody has a reaction to the medication, that the medication isn't going to make you go broke, because we have a broken healthcare system. So her doctors wanted to switch switch her medicine, and I'm not super thrilled, because the last time we switched her medicine, it took like 2 weeks for everything to level out. And with school around the corner, like, I was like, I don't really have, that much time. So it was a lot of back and forth of, like, getting the medication, going to the right place to get the right medication, them running it with the insurance on file instead of using the GoodRx coupon, and then having to redo it and having to wait. It was just a lot. And it feels very defeating when you are a parent or a guardian Like, I'm sure if you care for, like, your elderly parents, it's something similar like this, to make sure that they have the medicine and the medical care that they need, but you're limited because of the healthcare system or the doctor's availability or your schedule or whatever it may be. And it just feels like I feel very defeated when I'm doing my best and I'm just met with, like, no, over and over and over again. But that was, like I said, this was a stretch of, like, a couple rough days. The next day, we were going to go take a riverboat tour. If you guys are in the Harrisburg area, they do these educational tours on the river, on the Susquehanna River, and they are every Saturday morning. I don't know how long they run, like, through the year. And we've been wanting to do one. She's been wanting to do one for a long time. And this one is like an educational series. So the specific one we were signed up for was like bugs and something else. And the kids are free, but you have to pay for the adults. So we get there and it tells you to come like half hour early or whatever it is. And we get there and we see this like tiny little paper. And I was like, well, what does that say? And it basically says that the public sightseeing tours are canceled due to, I think it was the level of the water, which obviously I know that humans can't control the water levels and the currents and things like that. Totally understand that. So we walk around and my husband is talking to the one person who says, oh yeah, we're not going to be able to take the kids out today, but we're going to do everything from the dock. Now, this was like a pretty decent drive for us, with a child who's been looking forward to this for a very long time, to be told that, like, you spent all this time rushing this morning, getting out the door, waking up early, eating breakfast, taking your medicine, getting dressed, like, doing all of the things, and you're not getting to do the thing. Okay? It's devastating for a child like her. And it turned into one of these things that we have been expressing to her. Most kids, if you tell them, if you do X, Y, and Z, this is the consequence. Like, if you don't go to bed, I'm going to take that toy from you. And I let her know for, like, since the night before and again in the morning, that if you do not listen and you do not follow the instructions and you do not behave, we will turn around and go home. Well, my child had the world's largest meltdown over this. All of this would have been different if we as the parents had been given the information ahead of time and been able to make an informed decision. I would have rather swallowed the cost of the tickets than to make the drive and to deal with what we dealt with. And we scooped her up and we left, just like we said we would. Most kids, when they have an incident like that, it might take like 1 or 2 tries before they realize, like, oh, my parents are not bullshitting me, or like, oh, my grandparents are not joking around, or whatever it may be. And for this child, it like does not seem to, it just goes in one ear and out the other. And so you'd think after like a major incident, we also had multiple incidents this week where things were taken away from her, toys were taken away from her. One was thrown in the garbage, air quotes. And it doesn't seem to make a difference. It's like, what are you not getting here, kid? And she just became very aggressive, and it was just like, listen, I've got the best kid in the world, but watching her struggle the way she does, it hurts. It, like, I just want it to be better for her. And we have such a broken system here in the States, and the lack of mental health services for children, like the amount of lists that I've been put on for waiting lists to get into like play therapy and all these things, it's just hard. So, we left there and I was like, listen, can we just stop at Dunkin' on the way home? And my husband and I were both completely fed up because dealing with the emotional situation that we just dealt with was exhausting for all of us, not just Briar, but all of us. So we get into the drive-through line at Dunkin'. Now, if you've been to, it doesn't have to be Dunkin', but one of those drive-through lines that has 2 lines, the way it's supposed to work is that, like, the person in front pulls up to the one and the person behind them pulls up to the next. Not, oh, let me stay back here and wait and see which one goes faster. So this lady drove through the parking lot and cut everybody off getting in line. And I was like, oh, okay, so this is how it's going to be. And then she did that where she waited and pulled to the left or the right, whatever one. And we were behind her and we pulled up to the next one. And I was like, we got to order before her. I placed a mobile order. Our order, we get to the window and, there, you know, we got there before. My husband was like, oh, man, like, this is karma. It was just, this woman was, like, livid. You could see it. And I was like, you know, this shouldn't make me feel happy. But it does. And I don't know what that says about me as a human being. But after having such a shitty morning, to then have this moment of like, karma's a bitch, just felt nice. And again, I don't really know what that says about me. Probably means I'm awful or human. I don't know. But after much discussion, she assured us that everything was going to be great the rest of the day and that, you know, she would listen and she would behave and all of these things. And so I was like, why don't we try this all-you-can-eat sushi restaurant? The mistake was thinking we could do this. And unfortunately, this turned into a situation where if you have never dealt with somebody who has a meltdown is not the same thing as like a massive temper tantrum. They may look the same on the outside, but like an actual meltdown is when the child's body is not fueled by like a response to like, I'm mad, so I'm going to start yelling and screaming. It's like this thing is overstimulating my brain and I can't explain it and I just shut down. And so in the moment, this child just snapped. And it was, she was having a really hard time and she does not understand or care, I don't know which one it is, that you cannot scream in public. And I don't just mean like a little like, like I mean like screaming, like bloody murder. And I was like, listen, girlfriend, people, when you act like that, think that there's something wrong or you are hurt. And it was one of those situations where she just seemed to have like absolutely no control over what was happening. And she had chopsticks in her hand that she was trying to like stab me with, which I was like, cool, thanks. But at one point I had to grab her in and put her arms like across her chest so that she didn't have use of her hands or arms, which if you've never been in a situation like that, where you've never had to do something like that, it might sound overly aggressive or like, why would you try to restrain your child like that? But it's for her own safety. And literally you could just feel all of the tension in her body just release when she got that deep input of like, she needed that squeeze. But she couldn't say, I'm having a really hard time. Can you give me a squeeze? And instead it was just this like epic shit show of a meltdown where she is screaming and just, it was hard. And then of course, like the waiter's like, here's a dessert for her. And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, no. Like, I understand you're trying to smooth things over and you obviously don't want a child screaming in your restaurant. But it is so hard. And I saw somebody on Facebook posting the other day that children's behavior is a direct reflection of their parenting. And I was like, that's not true at all. It's true in some cases, but some cases you could be the best parent in the world and just have a child who is struggling or a child who's having a bad day. And in all reality, and I'm not here to like debate this, but there have been studies that have shown that the children, the ones who are like the most compliant, the quietest, the things like that, it's because they're acting out of fear. They don't want to upset the parent, and that's not the same thing as a well-behaved child. Like, just because you're behaving that way out of fear does not mean that you're doing an excellent job as a parent and your kid is just listening to you. Now, that's also not me saying that if you have a very well-behaved child, it's because you've traumatized your kid. Like, every kid is different, but also kids are free thinkers, you know? And mine is very, very independent in her thought, whether I want her to be or not. And, you know, I could give her scientific proof of something, and if she doesn't want to believe it, then she's not going to. And, you know, I know she's the kind of kid who will change the world one day. I just have to survive her first. And it was a hard day, a hard night, and I thought, like, maybe things will get better, and, you know, it didn't. And so we just decided the next day to just stay home, do absolutely nothing. You know, my husband was a little frustrated because he wanted to have, you know, a nice couple days before he goes back to a full-time schedule with the family. But in reality, at the end of the day, this kid is going through a massive transition. Whether she's started school or not, she's aware that it is about to happen. She's aware that now we have to go back and forth with daddy and like all these things. And it's just a lot of changes for her. And I can see the stress on her, and whether she's acknowledging or, you know, even realizing that that's what it is, I can see that. And, it's hard to prepare your kids for something that you don't know how to prepare for. Like, I don't know what to expect for kindergarten. We've been having a lot of conversations recently about the quality of people you want to have in your life. My child she wears glasses, as I mentioned. And, like, one of the things we've discussed multiple times is that if somebody is mean to you because you wear glasses, that is somebody that is not worth trying to be friends with. If somebody's going to make fun of you because they think you look stupid, or why do you wear those, or whatever it may be, those are not people that we want to waste our energy on. And I really, really, really hope that nobody says anything to her, but I also know that kids are cruel. They can be cruel. They can also be the most loving and amazing creatures on the planet, but I don't want somebody to hurt her feelings. I don't want them to hurt her feelings in general, but like, especially for something they can't control. I read something, and I was talking to my kid about this, and I'm going to leave you guys with this, and then I'm going to get out of here. That you should never comment on something. It's called the 5-second rule. And it's not the same thing as, oh, you drop your food on the floor, you have 5 seconds to eat it. This 5-second rule is, if there is something that somebody cannot change in 5 seconds, then it is not worth bringing up. Things like wearing glasses, somebody's weight, or anything appearance related, skin color, things like that. Somebody cannot fix that in 5 seconds. Something that is okay to bring up to somebody kindly is like if they have something stuck in their teeth, or they have dirt on their, like, something stuck to their cheek, something like that they can fix. But always do it with kindness. And so while we should never be commenting on other people's bodies, because our bodies are the least interesting thing about them, I just want my daughter to understand there are people out there who are not going to be as nice as other people are, and to just kind of be prepared for it, but also not to have herself be let down at 5. So that's all I got for you guys. If you made it all the way to the end here, I don't know, leave me your favorite emoji, whatever it may be. Mine is the guy with the monocle. I love him. He's so cute. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you like this video and you'd like to see more videos like this or nothing like this at all, please make sure to give this video 2 thumbs up. 1 real life, 1 virtual. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Come, join the Sparkle Squad. While you're there, hit that notification bell. I do not operate on any sort of schedule. I operate on toddler standard time, and I record when my tiny human is sleeping, or like today, sleeping. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys!